Beast mode. Marshawn Lynch's beast mode started when his youth coach said he ran like a beast every time he touched the ball, but the nickname went national during the 2010 wildcard game against the Saints. Lynch broke 9 tackles on a 67-yard touchdown that caused seismic sensors in Seattle to pick up crowd vibrations, the beast quake. It became his brand, his persona, and even his business. When Marshawn went into beast mode, defenders didn't just miss tackles, they lost hope. Cheetah. Tyreek Hill earned Cheetah in high school when his coach compared his burst to the fastest animal on earth. That stuck through college and into the NFL, where his 4.29-second 40-yard dash made him the league's ultimate deep threat. Hill's breakaway speed turned simple slants into 70-yard touchdowns. He backflips into the end zone, outruns entire defenses, and makes angles irrelevant. Cheetah isn't just about speed. It's about the instant acceleration that leaves defenders frozen before realizing he's already gone. Prime time. Deion Sanders' primetime nickname was born in high school after he scored 37 points in a basketball game, and it followed him into college and the NFL. Sanders made football feel like theater, with flashy interceptions, punt returns, and high-stepping showmanship. He was also a two-sport star, playing Major League Baseball while dominating as a shutdown corner. Prime time was a persona built on skill, swagger, and entertainment. And decades later, as Coach Prime, he's still playing the role. Sweetness. Walter Payton's nickname, Sweetness, is often said to reflect his graceful running style, though some insist it came from his warm personality. Either way, it fit perfectly. On the field, Sweetness was both punishing and poetic, stiff-arming defenders one play, leaping over them the next. He retired as the NFL's all-time leading rusher, beloved by fans and respected by peers. Sweetness didn't just describe his style of play, it summed up a career defined by elegance, toughness, and humanity. King Henry. Derrick Henry's King Henry title came from a mix of size, dominance, and highlight reel stiff arms. At 6 feet 3 inches and 247 pounds, he runs with the force of a freight train yet has breakaway speed. The nickname gained traction during his 2,000-yard rushing season in 2020, when he sent Josh Norman airborne with one arm. King isn't just a nod to his last name. It's a recognition that when Henry gets going, he rules the gridiron like royalty. The bus. Jerome Bettis became the bus at Notre Dame when a teammate said trying to tackle him was like getting hit by a city bus. In Pittsburgh, it became legendary. Bettis wasn't known for breakaway speed, but his low center of gravity and 250-pound frame made him nearly impossible to stop in short yardage. Fans chanted, "Here comes the bus," whenever he entered the game. His final NFL carry, a touchdown in a Super Bowl win, the perfect last stop. Fitzmagic. Ryan Fitzpatrick's Fitzmagic persona was built on unpredictability. A Harvard grad with the beard of a wizard, Fitzpatrick could torch defenses for 400 yards one week, then throw 4 interceptions the next. But when the magic hit, it felt unstoppable. Game-winning drives, improbable upsets, and bursts of brilliance that made him a cult hero. Across 9 teams, every fan base got at least one unforgettable Fitzmagic moment. It was never about consistency. It was about catching lightning in a beard, the Honey Badger. Tyrann Mathieu became the Honey Badger at LSU after a coach compared his fearless style to the viral animal video where a honey badger fought a cobra. His relentless play, combined with his distinctive blonde-streaked hair, made the name perfect. The Honey Badger doesn't care, and neither did Mathieu, attacking ball carriers twice his size and making clutch turnovers. In the NFL, he embraced it fully, turning the nickname into a personal brand that symbolizes toughness, grit, and relentlessness. Revis Island. Darrell Revis created Revis Island by turning man-to-man coverage into total isolation. Once you were on the island, you weren't catching passes, and you weren't getting help. Quarterbacks often didn't even bother throwing his way, knowing the odds were against them. The name became part of NFL vocabulary, printed on shirts and feared in playbooks. Revis Island wasn't a location on a map. It was a career dead end for wide receivers unlucky enough to draw his coverage. All Day. Adrian Peterson's father nicknamed him All Day when he was a toddler because he never stopped moving. That energy carried into the NFL, where Peterson became one of the most feared running backs of his generation. Known for explosive cuts, violent stiff arms, and breakaway speed, Peterson could dominate from kickoff to the final whistle. The name All Day wasn't just childhood charm, it was a perfect description of a workhorse back who kept pounding until the defense broke. Weapon X. Brian Dawkins' Weapon X nickname came from his game day alter ego. Inspired by Wolverine from X-Men, Dawkins transformed before games, growling, crawling, and hyping himself into a feral state. His hits were violent, his presence intimidating. Teammates fed off his energy, and opponents feared crossing the middle when he was lurking. Weapon X wasn't just a cool comic reference, it was a real transformation into one of the most feared safeties to ever set foot on an NFL field. Playoff Lenny. Leonard Fournette was Playoff Lenny long before he embraced the nickname on social media. In Tampa Bay's 2020 Super Bowl run, Fournette turned an average regular season into a dominant postseason. He scored 4 touchdowns in 3 games and averaged nearly 100 yards per game. Fans noticed the difference, and the nickname stuck. Fournette leaned into it, tweeting in character and acknowledging that when the playoffs came around, a different, more dangerous version of him took the field. The Freak. Jevon Kearse earned the Freak at the University of Florida because of his jaw-dropping athleticism for a defensive end. Standing 6 feet 4 inches with a 7-foot wingspan, he moved like a linebacker and had the burst of a sprinter. As a rookie with the Titans in 1999, he set the NFL rookie sack record with 14.5, terrorizing quarterbacks. The Freak wasn't about being unusual. It was about redefining what a defensive end could be, both physically and athletically. The Nigerian Nightmare. Christian Okoye became the Nigerian Nightmare as a nod to his Nigerian heritage and his bruising running style. At 260 pounds with track speed, Okoye was nearly impossible to bring down once he got going. Defenders described trying to tackle him as a painful experience they'd rather avoid. He led the NFL in rushing in 1989, cementing his reputation. The nickname fit perfectly, a proud nod to his roots and a warning to anyone in his path. Captain Comeback. Roger Staubach earned the nickname Captain Comeback during his time with the Dallas Cowboys for his uncanny ability to rally the team late in games. A Naval Academy graduate and Vietnam veteran, Staubach brought poise under pressure and an unshakable will to win. He led 23 game-winning drives, often pulling victories from the brink of defeat. The name wasn't just about late heroics. It reflected his leadership, discipline, and the belief that no game was over while he was in command. Diesel. John Riggins became Diesel for the way he ran, a straight-ahead, unstoppable force that gained momentum as the game wore on. Washington fans loved watching him grind down defenses, and he delivered one of the most famous Super Bowl runs in history with a 43-yard touchdown in Super Bowl on Yadinchi. Like an engine, Riggins didn't start at top speed, but once warmed up, he never stopped. Diesel was power, durability, and the guarantee that he'd keep moving forward. The Sheriff. Peyton Manning was the Sheriff because he commanded the offense like a lawman patrolling his territory. The nickname, popularized by broadcaster John Gruden, fit Manning's meticulous pre-snap adjustments, booming Omaha calls, and ability to keep defenses off balance. Manning didn't just run plays, he ran the game. Opponents couldn't disguise coverages without him noticing. With his mental quick draw and pinpoint accuracy, the Sheriff enforced his own rules, and in his territory, defenses paid the price for stepping out of line. The Snake. Kenny Stabler got the Snake nickname from his high school coach after a twisting, weaving touchdown run. The name followed him into the NFL, where his calm demeanor and clutch play for the Oakland Raiders made him a legend. Stabler had a knack for slipping away from pressure, delivering big throws when it mattered most. He wasn't flashy, but he was deadly efficient. Just like a snake strikes at the perfect moment, Stabler struck when games hung in the balance. Ironhead. Craig Hayward's Ironhead nickname came from a childhood fight where he reportedly headbutted a trash can and won. In the NFL, it fit perfectly. At 5'11", 265 pounds, Hayward was a punishing running back who sought out contact. His bruising style and fearless approach to collisions made him a fan favorite. Teammates loved his personality, and opponents learned quickly that tackling Ironhead was like running into a brick wall, except the brick wall hit back harder. White Shoes. Billy White Shoes. Johnson became famous not just for his play, but for his style. He started wearing white cleats in college when everyone else wore black, making him instantly stand out. In the NFL, his blazing speed and dynamic punt returns made him a household name, but his touchdown dances made him a cultural icon. White Shoes was about flair and individuality, and it marked the arrival of the modern showman era in professional football. Big Play Slay. Darius Slay earned the nickname Big Play Slay during his early years with the Detroit Lions for his knack for game-changing interceptions. Whether it was picking off Aaron Rodgers or shutting down an opponent's top receiver, Slay made the kind of plays that flipped momentum. His confident personality matched the nickname perfectly, and he carried it with him to the Philadelphia Eagles. Big Play Slay wasn't just talk. His resume of clutch defensive highlights proves it. Slash. Cordell Stewart became Slash because he could do it all: quarterback, receiver, and runner. The Pittsburgh Steelers used him as a Swiss Army knife in the mid-1990s, lining him up all over the field. His combination of arm strength, speed, and versatility baffled defenses. The name Slash came from the way his position listing would look: QB/WR/RB. Stewart embraced it, becoming one of the most unique and dangerous offensive weapons of his era. The Gravedigger. Gilbert Brown's Gravedigger nickname came from his sack celebration, pretending to shovel dirt over the quarterback he'd just taken down. At 340 pounds, the Green Bay Packers defensive tackle was an immovable force in the middle of the line. He clogged running lanes, collapsed pockets, and brought an intimidating presence that lived up to the name. The Gravedigger wasn't just a character, he was a literal burial for an opponent's offensive game plan. Too Tall. Ed Too Tall Jones got his nickname the day he walked onto the football field at Tennessee State. At 6 feet 9 inches, he was simply towering over everyone else. In the NFL, his height made him a nightmare for quarterbacks, swatting down passes and disrupting plays. A key member of the Dallas Cowboys' doomsday defense, Too Tall used his size not just for intimidation, but for strategic advantage. His nickname was as obvious as it was fitting: Lightspeed. Joey Galloway's Lightspeed moniker was all about his ability to hit top gear instantly. One of the fastest players of the 1990s, Galloway could turn a short slant into a long touchdown in seconds. His 4.18 second 40-yard dash time was legendary, and defenders often found themselves trailing hopelessly. Lightspeed wasn't an exaggeration. It was the most accurate way to describe how quickly he could flip a game with a single play. Broad Street Bully. Chuck Bednarik's Broad Street Bully nickname tied him to Philadelphia's tough reputation and his own punishing style of play. As the NFL's last full-time two-way player, Bednarik dominated as both a center and linebacker. His most famous hit, knocking out Frank Gifford, became an iconic NFL image. Broad Street Bully wasn't just about location, it was about mentality. Bednarik embodied Philadelphia grit and played with a ferocity that left opponents battered and beaten. The Monster of the Midway. Dick Butkus earned the Monster of the Midway as the face of Chicago Bears football in the 1960s and 70s. The nickname originally belonged to the Bears' 1940s teams, but Butkus made it personal with bone-crushing tackles and relentless pursuit. Opponents feared him, teammates revered him, and fans worshipped him. The Monster of the Midway wasn't just a middle linebacker. He was the embodiment of Chicago toughness and a symbol of defensive dominance. Mr. Do Everything. Lenny Moore's Mr. Do Everything came from his rare ability to excel at multiple roles. A Hall of Fame running back for the Baltimore Colts, Moore was just as dangerous catching passes as he was running the ball. He lined up in the backfield, out wide, and even returned kicks. In an era when most players specialized, Moore was a one-man offense. His versatility made him unpredictable, and Mr. Do Everything summed up exactly what he brought to the game: the edge. Edgerrin James became The Edge, both as a play on his name and for the way he gave the Indianapolis Colts offense a dangerous cutting edge. James could run between the tackles, catch passes out of the backfield, and block for Peyton Manning. His consistency made him one of the most productive backs of his generation. The edge wasn't just about skill, it was about being the piece that kept the Colts' offensive machine razor sharp. Lights Out. Shawnee Merriman's Lights Out nickname came from a high school game where he knocked out 4 players in one half. In the NFL, the name stuck as he became one of the most feared pass rushers of the 2000s. His sack celebration, flicking an imaginary light switch, became iconic. Merriman's explosive speed and power made quarterbacks' jobs miserable. Lights Out wasn't just a threat, it was a promise that once he got to you, the game's lights were going dark. If you liked this video, consider subscribing to Football for Dummies and watching this next video, which YouTube thinks you are going to love.